I worked in a prison for 10 years. 10 years of cold bars, empty stares, and screams echoing through the night. But I will never forget what happened on my last shift. It was a moonless night, the kind of night where darkness seems to swallow all sound. The lights flickered intermittently, which was no surprise in this old, gloomy building. I was assigned to monitor the most isolated cell, where a prisoner everyone avoided mentioning was held. His name was Henry, a thin, sickly-looking man who had been condemned for a crime so heinous that even other inmates feared him. There were rumors, of course, about things he did in the darkness of his cell, things no one wanted to confirm. That night, the atmosphere was heavier than usual. Whispers slithered through the hallways, incomprehensible words that seemed to emanate from the very walls. I felt a shiver run down my spine, but I tried to ignore it. It was just the fatigue, I told myself. As the night wore on, the whispers grew clearer. They were voices. Voices calling my name. I didn't want to seem like a coward, so I continued my rounds, passing by Henry's cell. There he was, sitting in the dark, with those sunken eyes that seemed to look right into my soul.
Do you hear that?
He asked in a voice that was barely a whisper. Hear what? I replied, trying to keep my composure.
They, the ones who can't rest. They're coming for you.
I couldn't help but shiver. Henry laughed, a laugh that seemed to belong to no human being. I decided to continue my rounds, but the whispers grew more intense. The walls seemed to throb with a life of their own. I began to think that stress was playing tricks on me. When I passed by Henry's cell again, I found it empty. The lock was secure, the bars intact, but he was gone. I felt a cold panic run through me. Suddenly, Henry's laugh echoed through the hallway, a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I ran to the main office to alert the others, but when I got there, it was empty. The phones didn't work, and the radio only emitted static. It was as if I was trapped in a nightmare. I decided to go back, armed with a flashlight and my bat, determined to find Henry. As I walked through the dark hallways, the whispers turned into screams. Screams of desperation, of agony, and amidst them, Henry's laugh. Finally, I reached an old wing of the prison, a section that had been closed off for decades. The door was slightly ajar. I don't remember seeing it before. I entered, and the air became thick, almost unbreathable. There, in the center of the room, was Henry. But he was not alone. Around him, dark figures moved, their faces twisted in expressions of eternal torment.
They came for you.
They came for you, Henry said, pointing a bony finger at me.
Now you are one of us.
Before I could react, the shadows lunged at me. I felt an indescribable pain, as if my soul were being ripped from my body. And then, everything faded into darkness. I woke up in my bed, sweating and gasping. Everything seemed like a dream, a horrible nightmare. But when I got up, I saw the marks on my arms, hand marks, as if someone had gripped me tightly. I resigned the next day. I never spoke of what happened, but sometimes, in the stillness of the night, I still hear the whispers of those who can't rest. And I know that someday they will come for me. This is my story and my experience.